Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, a revolutionary guide that has transformed the way we approach launching and scaling businesses. If you're an entrepreneur, a product manager, or anyone looking to build something new, this book is full of actionable advice on how to build a sustainable and successful business. From creating a minimum viable product to using customer feedback to fuel growth, the Lean Startup methodology will help you save time, money, and resources while maximizing your chances of success. Before we jump into the key takeaways, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more valuable content just like this. Let's dive into the principles that can help you transform your business. Takeaway 1, start with a clear vision, but stay flexible. The key to building a successful startup is starting with a strong vision, but staying flexible enough to pivot when necessary. While having a clear goal is important, it's equally important to remain open to feedback and adjust your course based on what you learn along the way. Startups are filled with unknowns, and flexibility allows you to adapt as new information emerges. Real-life example A, a tech startup began with a broad vision to create a product for everyone, but quickly realized that a more specific target market, a niche group of customers, would be more profitable. After pivoting to focus on this smaller group, they saw their customer base grow significantly. Real-life example B, a business in the food delivery space originally envisioned creating an app to cater to large restaurants, but shifted to focus on small local eateries after feedback revealed that smaller businesses had a greater demand for delivery services. Action: start by defining your vision, but remain open to feedback. As you gather insights, be willing to adjust your direction. Test assumptions early and often, using customer feedback to guide your decisions. Flexibility in your approach will help you find the path to success. Takeaway 2, build, measure, learn feedback loop. The build, measure, learn feedback loop is the heart of the Lean Startup methodology. This cycle encourages you to build a minimal version of your product, measure how it performs, and then learn from the results. This iterative process allows you to test assumptions, validate your ideas, and adjust quickly based on real-world data. Real-life example A, a startup created a basic version of their app, released it to a small group of users, and gathered feedback on its functionality. Based on the feedback, they made improvements to the app and re-released it, testing again. This iterative cycle helped them refine the product without wasting resources. Real-life example B, a company introduced a beta version of their website and closely monitored how users interacted with the site. They collected feedback, identified pain points, and made adjustments before launching the full version. Action: when developing a product or service, start by creating the simplest version that can test your assumptions. Once you release it, gather feedback from your users. Use that data to guide your next steps, whether that's pivoting or improving the current version. This iterative process will help you move forward with purpose and avoid spending resources on ideas that don't resonate with customers. Takeaway 3, minimum viable product MVP. A minimum viable product, or MVP, is the simplest version of your product that allows you to test your core business assumptions with the least amount of effort. The idea is to build a product with the minimum features necessary to gather feedback and validate whether the product meets customer needs. By launching an MVP, you can test your ideas early, avoid unnecessary work, and start learning as soon as possible. Real-life example A, a startup launched a very basic version of their app that offered only the most essential features. This MVP allowed them to test user interest and gather valuable feedback, helping them prioritize what to improve next. Real-life example B, a company created a landing page as an MVP for their new product. This simple page explained the product and included a call to action for users to sign up. The response they got from visitors helped them decide if it was worth building the full product. Action. When starting a new project, focus on building the simplest version that can test your assumptions. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough to gather meaningful feedback from real users. Use the insights you gather to improve the product before scaling. Takeaway 4, innovate and adapt. Based on customer feedback, innovation doesn't mean blindly pushing forward with an idea that you're passionate about. It means being flexible and adapting based on what customers are telling you. By actively listening to your users and making changes based on their feedback, you ensure that your product truly meets their needs and provides value. Real life example A. A tech company launched a feature that initially seemed like a great idea, but the users didn't respond well. They collected data, spoke to customers, and quickly adapted the feature to better align with their preferences. Real life example B. A small business tested a new service offering and received feedback that it wasn't as useful as expected. Instead of sticking with their original idea, they pivoted to a different service based on the feedback, which was much more successful. Action. Create a system for regularly gathering customer feedback, whether through surveys, interviews, or analytics. Once you have the data, don't be afraid to make changes. The ability to pivot or improve your product based on real feedback is key to long-term success. Keep iterating until you find a solution that works for your customers. Takeaway 5, validated learning. Validated learning is the process of learning what customers actually want and will pay for rather than assuming what they might need. It's about turning your ideas into experiments, measuring the results, and validating your assumptions. This ensures you're building the right product that truly solves customer problems and meets their needs. Real life example A. A startup developed an online course and initially believed the main selling point was the detailed content. After running several marketing campaigns, they realized that the value for customers was more about the convenience and ease of access to the material. They pivoted their marketing approach and adjusted their focus based on this new insight. Real life example B. A company built a new feature for its app, assuming users would find it valuable. By conducting A/B testing, they learned that the feature didn't resonate with users as expected. Instead of continuing with the feature, they focused on improving the existing features that users actually liked. Action. Start by validating your assumptions about what customers want, run small experiments, measure the results, and adjust your product or service accordingly. This will help you avoid building something that customers don't value and focus on what truly matters to them. Takeaway 6, build a sustainable business model. A great product is important, but building a sustainable business model is what will ensure your long-term success. This means understanding how to generate consistent revenue, create scalable systems, and manage costs effectively. A sustainable model doesn't just focus on one-off sales. It looks for ways to create recurring revenue streams and optimize operations for the future. Real-life example A. A company started off by selling its product in a one-time purchase model, but soon realized they needed to create a recurring revenue stream to maintain growth. They shifted to a subscription model, which provided more predictable income and improved customer retention. Real-life example B. A startup focusing on B2B sales initially struggled with high customer acquisition costs. They refined their model by offering additional value to existing clients and building out long-term contracts, which significantly increased profitability. Action. Review your current business model and think about ways to build sustainability into your operations. Consider creating recurring revenue streams or optimizing existing processes to reduce costs and increase efficiency. Focus on developing long-term strategies that will keep the business growing. Takeaway 7, lean thinking and continuous innovation. Lean thinking is about constantly improving and innovating while minimizing waste. Instead of building a perfect product from the start, you continuously refine your product based on real feedback, making small, incremental improvements. This approach allows you to adapt quickly, make smarter decisions, and deliver more value with fewer resources. Real life example A startup created a new feature based on customer feedback, but instead of spending months perfecting it, they released a simple version and gathered more feedback. Based on this, they made quick improvements and delivered a much better feature in less time. Real life example B, a software company applied lean thinking by releasing new versions of their app every few weeks. They listened to customer feedback after each release, making incremental changes based on what users liked and didn't like, which helped them stay ahead of the competitors. Action. Start applying lean thinking to your projects by focusing on incremental improvements. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Instead, release smaller updates, gather feedback, and make quick adjustments. Continuously innovate and learn as you go, which will help you save time and resources. Takeaway 8, pivot or persevere. After collecting feedback and evaluating your results, you'll often face the decision of whether to pivot or persevere. Pivoting means making a significant change to your business model or product, while persevering means sticking with your current approach but improving it. The key is to make this decision based on data and insights, not on emotion or pride. Real life example A, a startup initially focused on building an app for individual consumers. After feedback from users, they realized that businesses could benefit more from the app, so they pivoted to a B2B model. This pivot led to a new set of customers and ultimately greater success. Real life example B, a company was initially uncertain whether to focus on its flagship product or expand to other offerings. They gathered data and found that their flagship product had the most demand, so they decided to persevere and refine it further instead of branching out prematurely. Action. After gathering sufficient data, decide whether to pivot or persevere. If your assumptions prove wrong, don't be afraid to change direction. If the data supports your current path, double down on your efforts and keep improving. Make the pivot or perseverance decision based on evidence, not intuition. Takeaway 9, metrics that matter. In a startup, it's easy to get distracted by vanity metrics, numbers that look good on paper but don't provide meaningful insights. The Lean Startup methodology emphasizes focusing on actionable metrics that actually help guide your decisions and improve the business. These are the metrics that reflect real customer behavior and provide insights into how to move forward. Real-life example A, a startup initially tracked app downloads as their key metric. But after pivoting to a focus on user engagement, they found that measuring retention and active users provided much more useful data on the health of the business. Real-life example B, a company tracking the number of visitors to its website shifted to focusing on conversion rates, customer lifetime value, and retention. These metrics allowed them to make smarter decisions about how to optimize the customer journey. Action. Identify the key metrics that truly drive the success of your business. Instead of focusing on vanity metrics, dig deeper into data that will help you understand your customers' behavior and make data-driven decisions. Track these actionable metrics consistently and adjust your strategy as needed. Takeaway 10, build a culture of experimentation. A successful startup isn't just about building a product. It's about creating a culture that embraces experimentation, testing, and learning. By encouraging your team to try new things, run experiments, and embrace failure as a learning opportunity, you can foster an environment where innovation thrives. This culture of experimentation allows your business to stay agile and respond quickly to changes in the market. Real life example A tech company built a culture where every team member was encouraged to experiment with new ideas, test them, and share results. This led to rapid innovation and improvements and helped the company stay ahead of competitors. Real life example B a startup introduced weekly brainstorming sessions where employees pitched new ideas, tested them with small scale experiments, and reviewed the results. This culture of constant innovation helped the company discover new features that customers loved. Action. Cultivate a culture of experimentation by encouraging your team to test new ideas, run small-scale experiments, and learn from the results. Foster an environment where failure is seen as an opportunity to learn, not a setback. Regularly evaluate what's working and what's not, and adapt quickly to ensure continued innovation. And that wraps up our breakdown of The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. To recap, we covered the importance of starting with a clear vision while remaining flexible, the build, measure, learn feedback loop, creating a minimum viable product, and how customer feedback drives innovation. We also explored the need for validated learning, building a sustainable business model, and using lean thinking for continuous innovation. Finally, we touched on knowing when to pivot or persevere and the importance of focusing on the metrics that truly matter. So, what's next? Start applying these principles to your own projects. Begin by defining your MVP and testing it with real customers. Gather feedback and use it to improve your product continuously. Don't wait for perfection. Instead, focus on learning and iterating quickly. Make sure to track the right metrics and stay flexible in your approach as you move forward. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one key takeaway from the Lean Startup that you're planning to implement in your business or project? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. I'd love to hear how you're going to apply these strategies in the real world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more insightful videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.